Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to yet another episode of the Wrestle Geek podcast. This will be episode number 11. I am Mitch, your host, one of your hosts, and I'm joined alongside with my co-pilot this evening, Howie. What's up, Howie?
What's up, Mitch? It's good to be back once again to be your co-pilot, and let's talk some Wrestle Geek stuff. I'm ready.
I'm ready too. Oh man, yeah, we were a little late last week with the posting of last week's episode, but this is this week's episode, so we'll be posting this one right on time, and you kind of get a twofer almost in the same week. So this is kind of cool. So
yeah, I feel that although it was late last, with our most recent episode, I don't feel that it's devalued any way.
No,
I still feel that if you listen to it just a little bit later, it was a pretty good episof.
Yeah.
I felt like we were having a good laugh, and we discussed all all of the controversial matters of Raw, all the main things. I think we hit it on the head. And so, but what are we going to talk about this week?
Well, I think we're gonna jump right into it. We got Raw, and this week's Raw wasn't that terrible. It was actually pretty good. Now we know they're getting heated up and warmed up for WrestleMania, which is next Sunday. This Sunday is Easter, of course. But next Sunday is the WrestleMania already. It feels like it didn't creep up on us this year. It just kind of like blew right in. So, yeah, and Raw opens up with was Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, and then they were basically talking about how Roman Reigns wasn't there, and then if I remember correctly, he actually came. Did he come through the audience or something like that? He kind of walked in.
Yeah, he kind of he walked in, but was quickly destroyed.
Yeah, he got he did get destroyed very quickly, and it seems like Brock Lesnar, he just basically just took, like you said, he just took him apart, and it was interesting. I mean, I guess
gave him an F5 onto the steps.
Yeah,
I mean, that is that's gonna hurt.
That was impressive looking.
Even if someone tells you that it's going to happen, I think it was one of those ones where when you watch it back, you can see the telegraphed kind of, when they pick them up for a headlock. When I was a kid, I never really noticed it at all, but as I've got older, you can see the
when they talk to him,
you can see them talk to each other.
Yeah,
and you can see Brock pick up Roman and sort of like go like F5.
Yeah.
in his ear, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna F5 you." I think even with that warning, Roman must be thinking, "Oh shit,
this is gonna hurt."
He's gonna put it on the steps, isn't he? Maybe that's why he wears that vest thing. He's got like some protection. He's got a lead layer that allows him to take that kind of impact. But it looked like it hurt.
I thought the vest was to hide his beer gut, but
hey, I need one of those.
Me too. I'll take two.
The Roman belly retainer. I need that.
It's a girdle. I'll take two.
One for the front, one for the back.
Yeah. So
I think we're on something with that.
I know we should definitely market this.
I'll put the feelers out and I'll see what we can do. We'll try and develop this and we'll put it to the WWE. And we'll see what they say. It'll be on QVC in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they'll steal our idea and give us none of the proceeds. So,
stranger things have happened.
I'm sure. And then the next match, the first match of the evening was Nia Jax versus Mickie James, and it was actually a pretty good match. It wasn't as involved as I guess I hoped it would have been. She did the Samoan drop and she pinned Mickie James. So, again,
it was good. Nia's on a roll. They've done well to kind of take her from, she's still like put across as a kind of a monster, but she's like how we usually use the term a monster heel. She's a monster face.
Yeah.
She's like very likable, and they've done this whole kind of thing where it's like the cerebral attempts of bullying of Mickey James and Little Miss Bliss, they kind of it's like high school stuff almost, isn't it? It's
Yep.
like the two it girls.
Yeah, and they're picking on the overweight girl.
Picking on the body shaming and all of that. And so, I guess that's something that youngsters can relate to.
Absolutely.
But it does. But Nia, I think it's great because he's setting up well to the match at WrestleMania with Bliss and Nia, and I think there's quite a strong likelihood that Nia will go over at WrestleMania.
I believe so. Yep, absolutely.
She's worked very hard. She does deserve it.
It'll be a crowning moment for her. And on a side note, I just want to add that I am even in my old age, I am still revered as the overweight girl. So I can totally relate to Nia Jax. But moving on,
you're not like most girls.
I'm not like most girls. But then the next match, we had the 205 match. Was a tag match, right? It was Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali versus TJP and Drew Gulak. You know how terrible I am? Is that I have a lot of respect for all wrestlers, as you know. But, 205 is not my cup of tea. I mean, I loved the Cruiserweight division back in the WCW days. But, I'll watch it if it's something that I, catches my interest. I feel like Enzo really started to, help them get into their own because he brought a lot of character and charisma and stuff, and it made it a little bit more tolerable as far as storylines go. And then he had that unfortunate incident, and, I think it took a step back, in my opinion. I thought that was I think it was a big blow to the Cruiserweight division, you know what I mean? Like losing Enzo. Because he was a guy that was on the main roster and then kind of got sent to, and somebody that was very over at one point, and they got sent to 205 Live, and he kind of also added to that credibility of, some of these more unknown guys, and I feel like he gave it a little bit more validity, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because a lot of the guys on 205, I mean, it's the curse of the cruiserweights in some respects. It was a bit like that in WCW back in the 90s, where you had obviously the guys who were the cruiserweights. What they brought to WCW was just incredible in-ring kind of work. You think back to Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Jericho,
Juventud Guerrera,
Psychosis, La Parka,
Hoovy Juice.
Yeah, Hoovy. Yeah, I mean, it was just fantastic stuff. But it wasn't necessarily about charisma, unless it was Jericho. My God, he was
the best. Remember when he had the list, the original list of moves, and it was like, he was the man of 1,001 holds.
He was the standout guy, really, and when it came to personality in the cruiserweight division, and I guess that's what Enzo was.
Yeah,
not in terms of in-ring performance.
Right.
He's not, let's face it, not on the level of Jericho as a cruiserweight. But like you say, he's a big personality, and that makes a show, and that's what it was lacking. I think that's why they brought in Spud, Drake Maverick,
right?
Because he is a guy that is, he's an accomplished wrestler, sports entertainer, but he has just a massive charisma, a massive personality, and he's a natural entertainer. I mean, Spud has been around for a long time in the UK wrestling scene, and used to, he used to like pop up on TV, all kinds of different TV shows, like non-wrestling TV shows. So if like if there's like a dating show, like a blind date or something like that,
right?
I don't know if you've got a blind date in the United States.
Yeah, we had it for a long time. I don't know if it's still on, but I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, I used to watch it.
Yeah, like I can't remember. I don't think he was actually on, a blind date, which we had here, but he was on some show like that. He was on this kind of like, I think it was called Snog, Marry, Avoid, something like that. And he turned up as Rockstar Spud, and he was like proper like indie British wrestler, proper rough around the edges. And these kind of like this hot woman who's like the presenter, she talks to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm Spud, I'm a pro wrestler, yeah. And he's got his big glasses on. And they gave him a makeover. They cut his hair, shaved his stubble, and they made him look really clean cut. And then basically they sort of like would show him to like girls, like women around, they'd be like, "Would you snog, marry, avoid?" Now, earlier on in the show, when he's just like Spud himself, they're like, "Oh, avoid, definitely." But then when they give him the makeover, they're like, "Oh yeah, definitely snog. Oh yeah, I'll definitely marry him." You know, it's just like. But that was the thing about Drake Maverick. He's very, very charismatic and was putting himself out there and kind of. I just always remember him doing. There's other things that he's done like that. I can't remember what they are, but he was proactive in getting himself over as a personality, not just as a pro wrestler, and that'll come through even more. And I think that does feel somewhat. It's given 205 structure with him being that kind of authority figure as well.
Right.
But Enzo, yeah, who knows? What's going on with Enzo? Where is he now?
I heard that he's been in like seclusion. Like he's been in like what do you call that? Not hiding, but like he's in seclusion. He's like he's on like a hiatus. He's gone. Like I don't even think he's been posting online. Like nobody's seen him. I don't know if he's on a bender. I don't know what the story is with him, but
has he gone to live with Yoda? On like I can't remember what the name of the planet is. The one where he's like a hermit. He's like, live with me, you will, Enzo. And he's like, Yoda, which
how you doing?
How you doing? Can you imagine Enzo wearing like a Jedi robe? It'd be amazing. Like, yo, I got my lightsaber up in here.
Certified lightsaber. Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, no. That was actually a really good Yoda impression. I like that.
Was it?
Yeah. I thought he was here.
Cruiserweight you are.
That's a good one. I think that one rivals your Triple H. I think that might be your best one yet. We might have to call upon Master Yoda from time and again.
Every now and then, if we need a bit of wisdom, more wisdom than Triple H.
Yeah, we could almost turn it into like a...
Triple H knows what's best for business. Yoda does not know what's best for business. He can't sell T-shirts and action figures.
On the contrary, he actually sells many T-shirts and many action figures.
I have more T-shirts, more T-shirts sold than you. I say.
That's true. Oh, it's damn true.
Yeah, I'd love to see Triple H try and pedigree Yoda. I don't think his arms are long enough.
Speaking of which, have you seen the new Star Wars movie?
I did. I have seen the most recent one, yes.
I thought it was really good. I was impressed. And then, speaking of Yoda, he was actually made a cameo, like a surprise appearance. I didn't know he was going to be in the movie, and I was watching.
And they didn't do him as a CGI either. He was like a puppet. Like
yeah, but he had like
I
think
that.
He had a little bit of a glow to him. I think that was the only thing that was CGI. But I think it was it rang true. And it held true to the my metaphors are messed up today. I don't know why. I think I didn't turn the switch on or something. But it actually holds true to the original Yoda. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I felt like he, it was nice. It was. I feel like they definitely incorporated some old school like effects to make the movie, more feel more like a Star Wars movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought actually when I was there and. I actually thought the experience of going to the cinema and watching it, I felt very entertained, and it was actually very funny. There was a lot of humor, but actually that was quite different to kind of previous Star Wars films, how funny it was. But it wasn't until I kind of days later, I saw my brother-in-law, who is an absolute Star Wars mad fan. He's like a lifelong, he's a number of years older than me, and he's, I was born in the 80s, he was born in like the 70s, so he's like properly grown up with Star Wars. It's his thing. Like wrestling is like one of my things. It's like I love wrestling. He loves Star Wars like that. And and I went to him, what did you think? And he was like, hated it. And I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that, But he was really looking in detail. Like he was like saying there was a bit where Princess Leia, she's out in space and she like freezes over.
Yeah, and then she pulls herself towards the... Yeah. She uses like the Force or whatever to pull herself towards...
But then they just open the doors. You know, and it's like in space, isn't there this thing with pressure? So it's like if the doors open, everyone's like,
yeah, she would. They would all get sucked out. Yeah,
into space. But she just said they were just like, oh, here she is. Beep. Open the doors. Come on in. Do you know what I mean? Just like in the middle of freaking space. There's no pressure problems here.
Right.
Come to this part of space where pressure is not a problem. Quadrant 7. Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I was trying to sell a holiday to a particular part of space. Quadrant 7, there is no pressure in space. Whereas in Sector 4, there is. Yeah, where were we? How did we get to Star Wars? Yes, I mean...
Yeah, we were talking about Yoda. You said something about Yoda, and then I said...
Yoda. Oh, Enzo. We were talking about Enzo, because Enzo, he's become a Jedi. That's what it is. He's left 205 to become a Jedi.
Yeah, that's what you said. He was on that planet where Yoda lives or something.
Realest Jedi in the room.
How you doing? And so Alexander and Mustafa go over on TJP and Gulak. Oh, my point that I was trying to make before. I got to sidetrack one more time.
We're allowed.
I didn't even realize that TJP was back. What? I know he was gone. Wasn't he gone for a while and then he came back? Like I totally forgot that he even came back. You know,
the 4 guys in that match though, actually, they are kind of like the
cream of the crop.
They are the stalwarts.
Yeah.
Is that a word that I feel like that's a word that I should use here, but I don't really know what it means. They are the stalwarts of the division at the moment because a lot of guys are injured and out and disappeared. So you've got Cedric Alexander, Mustafa, and TJP and Drew Gulak. They've kind of been there since the beginning, since the 205, since the classic tournament, the Cruiserweight Classic. So they're kind of, I think Drew Gulak, he's done well to become quite a corporate man. And I don't mean that in just his character where he had this kind of no-fly zone thing. But if you look at how he's polished up as a sports entertainer, before he just kind of looked like an indie guy. Now he looks like he's been on a sunbed and, hit the gym. And it's like Triple H has been like, Drew, you gotta get a tan. It's best for business. You gotta shave that beard off. It makes you look old. It's just. And but I don't know. I personally, so the Cedric Alexander, Mustafa, they're the guys who are having the match at WrestleMania for the title, for the Cruiserweight title. Now, both of those guys, I think Mustafa Ali has a kind of almost an underground following on Instagram. I've seen some people are really into that guy and think he's awesome. Cedric Alexander, the same. He's very much a lot of independent kind of fans, but neither of them strike me as being really, like you say, like what Enzo was, where it's somebody who is going to create storylines and compelling viewing, and keep us watching 205 Live and be that kind of figurehead of the division. They're going to be great. They're great in-ring workers, but we. Just need some kind of people with personality. And
they need some standout stars. They're not they got a lot of cookie cutters,
I mean, TJP when they put him over in the Cruiserweight Classic because I think his image felt current. He was doing the dab thing. He's got the hood.
He had the video game. Wasn't he the one that has the video game entrance? Like the music sounds like an old Nintendo game or something like that.
Yeah.
So then we had Miz TV with Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. It was an okay. I don't know, man. It's just something about the Miz Taraj that like really irritates me, and I think like I don't know what it is, but I just feel like maybe the Miz is just better off on his own. I feel like these guys are almost like shackles. I don't know. They just. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm just sick of seeing them. Like, they need to be repackaged like heavily, and they need to be like, they need to do something with them, separate them. I don't know why they need to be like Job Squad 2018. Get. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was a surprising segment. I didn't think it was bad. I actually thought it was quite entertaining. I thought the Miz did his kind of it was a funny switch, wasn't it? Where it was kind of like, oh, I'm the clever, or the heel he was getting heat, and then we were kind of led to believe that his minions were turning on him, but actually no, it was all a ruse, and in fact, they were all in on it. But I liked the way that he did the bit where Bo Dallas is kind of calling Miz a loser kind of thing, and then
there wasn't there also something there was mention of like his father, like
yeah.
where Miz said like I'm better than Mr. Perfect, and then
that was kind of
it was like an awkward moment where they kind of like looked at each other, and it was like
I'm the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. I'm better than Mr. Perfect. And
right.
It was like it turns around and everyone's like, ooh. But I actually thought in a way it did actually involve the Miz Taraj more because they actually kind of got to speak a little bit, and it kind of did something where it showed a little bit of dissension, even though it turned out that they were helping Miz to kind of kick Finn Balor and Seth Rollins' ass, and it wasn't a bad segment, but yeah, it's frustrating because I think I Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, can't remember which way around it is. Joe Hennig is his real name, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're two guys that we've spoke about this in detail before, haven't we? We want more for them, and I actually never had a problem with Bo Dallas's believe gimmick.
I like that whole thing. I thought that was awesome with the thumbs out. That was so cool.
I thought
it was corny, but it was cool.
Yeah, I thought that could get over because remember like Kurt Angle was kind of corny, and just in your face. I always thought that they could have really pushed that even further because he kept saying but you got to believe and all this stuff, and he was in his own. They could I felt that they could have given that more time because you can always make a character more edgy. They did that with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was...
I don't understand why they did that. Didn't he get injured or something? Didn't something happen where they took him off TV for a little bit, and then he came back as like... didn't he come back as like an aggressive heel with the new like leotards instead of...
Yeah.
That was the only thing that bothered me about him was his underwear, the type... it looked like he was wearing a diaper most of the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he was an NXT champion. Bo Dallas was NXT champion. Yeah. So he had great things destined for him, and then for some reason he's just kind of floating around. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Because surely they could. I always thought he was going to join Bray.
Yeah, and go in the flock. Well, not the flock.
The flock. Yeah.
the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family.
The flock, the flockers.
The flock.
The flock, meet the flocker family.
The flock, meet the flockers.
Meet the flockers, we're here. That would have been cool, because I reckon he could play a really good dark character, Bo Dallas. But actually, I thought that always would have been a good run-in, is if you had Bo, who was kind of like... because he was always about like being unbeaten, wasn't he? And like perfection and being
he was.
You could be like me if you believe. And I always imagined him doing like he should have done like when he won a match, they should have pushed him so that he actually was good. So he sort of comes out and he says he's really good, and he could have like just beaten people, like almost just like he goes against a jobber, comes out, slaps the guy in the face, and like rolls him up into a small package. 1, 2, 3, and he's like, yeah, And then I imagined him doing like laps, like a victory circuit.
Yeah,
like an athlete.
Didn't he used to do that around the ring though? Like, didn't he run around the ring like with his hands up or something?
He could have had like he could have had his own flag or something, like an Olympian, and running around. He could have had it.
It could have been a big thumb in the air with the thumb, the sideways thumb.
Yeah. Exactly, they could have done so much with this kind of corny, because it reminded me of this.
And he had cool music too. It was like almost like a Chariots of Fire, like that, like victory music almost, like inspirational,
straight lace kind of guy. They should have gone with that, and then they could have had the downfall where when he starts losing, they could have done this thing where he has a winning streak, that he could have had a losing streak. And then it's when he's in that losing streak, he goes on a downward spiral, and that's when Bray Wyatt starts talking in his ear. They could have done this whole thing where it's kind of like, they could have just.
Who knows? I mean, the night is young. I mean, we could be stepping onto something right now. Like maybe, because technically, Bray Wyatt got deleted, right? And he fell into that pond of resurrection or whatever it's called, or reincarnation or whatever the hell they call that lake. So he's got to come back as a different character now. Maybe he'll come back and somehow they'll do something in that respect, So who knows? But I mean,
I reckon he's gonna come back as Bray Boogie, and it'll be like it's Bray Boogie.
He's gonna be Husky Harris.
Boogie man, Boogie Bray Boogie, and he'll come out and be like, "Yeah, baby, I'm here to boogie." Then everybody like, "Uh-oh." So amazing.
And then we had Asuka versus Jamie Frost. This girl they actually gave a jobber mic time, and she was talking before the match, and I was surprised at that.
She was like, "It's not if I'm ready for Asuka, it's if Asuka is ready for me."
Basically,
just I farted on a set of Blue Lagoon once.
Yeah, and then she squashed her in seconds. So
I love a squash match.
Yeah,
just brilliant. That's the best way to put your talent over. Just let them destroy somebody.
Absolutely. And then so that was that for that. And then we had Braun Strowman versus Sheamus. I mean, if you didn't see where this was going, then you probably shouldn't be watching wrestling. I mean, this was you knew it was going to happen, and you knew Strowman was going to win. I mean, it was an okay match. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything to talk about, really. What did you think about it?
Right. Okay. It's unorthodox to obviously have one man going against your tag team champions. Okay, it is kind of believable because he is the monster
giant
among men, Braun Strowman, and that is his thing. That he's just like, whoa, he's like the Incredible Hulk of the WWE. But the problem is that it tends to devalue what is a very strong tag team by just having him kind of be able to, if he goes over the bar at WrestleMania and actually does become the one-man tag team champions, which, let's face it, is probably best for business because it's going to look really cool with him with both belts going raw, and it'll be memorable. It's a real WrestleMania moment, isn't it? But it is to the detriment of a very strong tag team. It would be the kind of thing that if Braun does, I don't think there'd be much. Here's an interesting thought. Is there fuel to Braun being the single tag team champion for an extended period of time? Could it be that he goes over at WrestleMania but then loses the tag team titles the next night on Raw in order to restore balance to the force?
Right.
Because otherwise, because Braun shouldn't really be in the tag team division. So maybe it's just something that creates that WrestleMania moment, because they got history of doing that. They did it with Zack Ryder. Put Zack Ryder over on the night, comes into Continental Champion, and then lose it straight away because for whatever reason
I didn't understand that.
Hasn't got fuel,
I don't know, man. I feel like Zack Ryder has so much more to offer. You know what I was even thinking about yesterday? I actually was watching NXT because it's now Thursday.
Yeah.
Here and there. Actually, it's by you. It's going on. Isn't it already Friday? But
I think we have it by Thursday.
Yeah.
I remember.
No, I'm talking about right now. It's Friday by you, isn't it?
Oh yes. No. It's where are we now? Oh yeah, it is now. Yeah. By half an hour. It's half past 12 midnight.
Yeah.
36 minutes after midnight. It's now Friday.
So what you're saying is we're actually early tonight. We're actually early.
We're massively early. Usually,
good for you.
Yeah. By this time in the podcast, it'd usually be about 2:30.
I tried to accommodate you this week, bro. I tried. I know.
I think that was the thing last week when we were talking about Kane. I think towards the end of
that was the
podcast,
best.
I was tired, and
I love that story.
I had about 4 cups of coffee, and I was really tired, and I was just going on one. I listened back to that, and I'm like, dude, I was transcending the podcast.
I love the visual.
But I don't know where that comes from. But where were we?
The next segment we have we're still talking.
You were no. You were talking about NXT.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I was ready to skip right over that. No, I was saying, we were talking about Zack Ryder, and I was saying like they should send Zack Ryder to NXT. Honestly, he lives in Florida. He's he's very talented, and I think he has a lot to offer. And I think he could help some of the younger guys that have just starting. Yeah. And I could see him as like NXT World Champion. You know what I mean? Like at least give the man a title. He works hard. He's in the greatest shape of his life. He's probably in better shape than 90% of the roster, or maybe more.
He's putting on mass, isn't he? He's like just from a technical point of view, I can see that he's putting on mass. He's dude is cut.
Yeah, he looks great. I mean, and he's and he's talented. Like I said, we've said this before.
When they give him that chance, when we were just talking about at WrestleMania, when he did win the
people went crazy.
They went freaking nuts. It was one of the bloody moments of the whole night, and he looked great in his Macho Man inspired white, mauve. Well, it's more of a blue, isn't it?
Then his dad came in the ring.
That was cool. WrestleMania 7 inspired Macho Man gimmick outfit. He looked great, and the place was just going flicking crazy. They were like, yes. I know that's the Danny Bryan thing, but they use.
I know they were going crazy. Yeah, they use it for everybody.
Approval for anything, don't they, these days?
Yeah.
Dude, and now he's jobbing to fucking Mojo Rawley.
Oh my god, I can't stand him. I'm sorry.
He's one of those guys. The other week we were talking about AJ Styles seems like a nice guy, and you like him. He's a likable. Some people hate him. They just don't. They think he looks like a
soccer mom.
A soccer mom. I was going to say a hockey mom with his hair, but yeah, soccer mom. Some people hate him. I think he comes across as a good guy, but
I love him.
I'm not a flat earther.
I'm not a flat earther.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm just saying some of it makes sense. But he seems like a decent guy. But Mojo Rawley, I'm sure he is in real life. If I met him, he might be the nicest guy. But I don't know. There's something about him which I'm just like, you should be a heel. I don't want to like you. He's the kind of guy that would make a good heel because he just does my head in. I don't like it when people are too hype. This thing where it's just like, whoa, I'm up in your face. It's just like, relax.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Go drink some water, calm down. Go and take a shower, cool off.
Do some laps.
I bet Zack Ryder wants to fucking headbutt him. Do you know what I mean? In real life, he just was.
He's amicable to him, but I feel like he wants to be. He doesn't want to be,
Like Zack Ryder, they should part. Like that dude got himself over. We talked about this so many times.
Yeah,
the tragedy.
He also pioneered the internet boom for the WWE. Yep.
Which is now how people, wrestlers, sports entertainers live. They're all trying to get themselves over through social media, Instagram, YouTube. He was the Long Island. What was it? Long Island
IC.
IC. Even I was watching that stuff. Me in the United Kingdom, south of England. Here I was, and it was outside of WWE. It was his own independent thing that he was spearheading, getting himself over. Man, the thing is, though, I've seen people say, "Oh, he should go to TNA." From his point of view, I bet. Let's face it, Chelsea Green, his missus,
right?
She's away from TNA. Why would he want to go to TNA? She's about to come over to WWE. Really, that's clearly why she's left TNA. She's a good worker. She's very popular as well. She comes across as being likable, and will fit in really well with WWE. So he's not. But yeah, maybe NXT that would be cool. But from his point of view, wouldn't you feel if you're a guy who's been on the main roster for so long and they demoted you down to NXT? He doesn't want to be Alex Riley,
Right.
Alex Riley got sent down. And that guy, I thought he was talented. He had a lot of natural charisma. And he got NXT'd, and then away he goes. Oh, now I'm pursuing acting now. No, he just didn't have anything for you, bro. But that was a shame because Alex Riley was good. I thought,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But Zach, the tragedy of Zack Ryder. Anyway, how did we get onto that?
I don't know. We veered off. But I like when we veer off.
This is what happens when Richie's not here. He keeps us on the straight and narrow.
I think actually when Richie's on, I feel like I'm the one that's keeping you guys in line.
That's true.
You don't realize it because now you're on the outside looking in. Then you're on the inside. I'm looking in. So
That's it.
if that even made sense.
I do feel he has a sobering element that he brings to the trifecta.
Yeah, we miss Richie, but like I said, he's got other endeavors, and he'll be back. He'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but
he's gonna have a tan. Not that anyone will see it because it's a podcast, but he's gonna have a tan. He'll be drinking cocktails by the pool.
Lucky son of a gun.
Living it up. His left hand has got a little bit heavier. Now he's got a ring on it.
Oh, yeah.
Dude's living life. Club Tropicana drinks are free. Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
So the next segment was Ronda Rousey. And they actually brought her out, and she got a little physical, which was cool.
That's cool.
Paige offered her a spot in the Absolution. And then she beat up Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose in quick fashion.
Yeah,
it was an okay segment. Wasn't anything, amazing. I'm curious to see how she's gonna do in the match. She looked a little nervous. A little nervous when she was throwing around these two. So
yeah, it didn't look bad, but it wasn't. I didn't have the conviction that she's green, but she'll get it. There's a lot of pressure on her to be good, and she will. I think she's the kind of person. She's of the pedigree, isn't she? By an athlete.
She'll persevere.
She'll persevere, and they're really putting her into that spot already now, where she's this kind of very focal part of the programming.
Right.
I did notice on another criticism of her presentation was her makeup. Because I follow the WWE Glam Squad, or whatever they're called, which is the Instagram of the makeup artists, and so I get to see stuff to do with how the female talent is presented.
Yeah, they made it look like she had pink eye,
and she had like red underneath her eyes. She had
it
looked
looked so weird. Even my wife was like, "Oh my god!"
Which I can understand. They were trying to go with this kind of fiery. She's Ronda Rousey, and that goes with the
It
t-shirt.
looks ridiculous.
But the thing is, it's like you say, from a very human aspect. When we look into another human being's eyes and they're red, it means they're either tired, they're stoned, or someone's farted on your pillow. And you've got poo particles in your eye.
You farted in your eye. You got pink eye.
You got pink eye. So she's either, tired, stoned, or got pink eye. She's got, and that's not good. Or I don't know, maybe she's allergic to cats or something, and she's having an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, maybe she's got a peanut allergy. Who knows? And they had an EpiPen.
She ate shrimp. She's allergic to shellfish.
There's some mahi, or the that's not shellfish.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some lobster. There's some crab. Maybe that's what the wrestlers have out of the bag. They got some crab, lobster, a lobster cheese, mac and cheese, lobster mac and cheese. She had some.
That's good stuff right there.
Eyes went puffy, posh mac and cheese. That's what she had, and eyes went red. But who knows?
In any case, it was a decent segment. And,
yeah.
So once again, we find Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows facing the Miz Taraj. Exciting, and of course we know who goes. It's like these are all job matches because you know who's gonna win. Sheamus versus Braun, and this one, and then it was an actual job match. So it's like who's gonna win these matches. There's nothing really amazing to profess here. It was an okay match. Right?
Yeah, it's a shame.
And then
the Miz Taraj are the Miz Taraj.
It's terrible.
It couldn't be something else.
We kind of skipped ahead with that, but yeah, we were talking about them earlier. So
yeah,
but then you had Elias versus Rhino again. Unfortunately for Rhino, who still got it, I think. Now putting over every talent possible. And of course he lost also. So again, kind of like a job match. You knew who was going to win the match. You know what I mean? It's not like there's no surprise here, Like I feel like all these matches they're like mid-range job matches,
It's because everyone is just waiting around for WrestleMania now. Everything, right. unless it's part of, the Ronda Rousey thing. That obviously there's a kind of a bit of storyline. I mean, it's the same thing every week, really. It has been for the last 3 weeks, I'd say. It's like, what more? What more can they do? They set the matches. Unless you can add in a little bit, maybe that's how they're just thinking about things wrong. They're kind of setting the matches, and then it's kind of everything's just kind of like, yeah. So, what do we do this week?
Yeah.
You know, they need to spice it up a bit.
Yeah, I always remembered like the road to WrestleMania being like a fun and like it would amp you up more to want to watch the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Now it's like I feel like with the introduction of like the network, they're not forced to really promote the pay-per-view, you know what I mean? So it's like they don't have to worry about buy rates and things like that because everybody has the network now. So there's no like where years ago it was like, wow, we got to put some really good crap on this to make people buy the pay-per-view or else we're not going to make money. Now it's like, well, they're already subscribed anyway, so we have our umpteen million, and then we're going to get all our money in the end of the month when everybody gets billed for their network. You know what I mean? So they're not really, there's no fire under their ass to make it great. You know what I mean? The pressure is not there,
That's it. I mean, every match can't be the focal point of the programming because obviously you need structure to the product.
Right.
But it's funny because Elias is floating, and although they did do this thing at the end after he destroyed Rhino, who I think they should repackage as Ryan Osiris.
But again, you're running into that problem with the last names. We don't want last names.
It's okay, anymore. I think in some respect they could just call him Ryan.
I like the last names to be honest, but whatever.
Like so they get at the end he destroyed Rhino, Heath Slater, and then reminded the fans that he's looking to find his way to WrestleMania. So whether that means people are speculating whether it means he'll be Braun Strowman's partner for the tag team match. He's going to be there in some capacity because they're going to want to do that thing where he's singing to the crowd and he gets the walk with Elias with the WrestleMania crowd. It's going to be a really big pop. But there's a lot of floating going on, and also just structurally speaking, I mean, that match we were just talking about, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, it was just a match, wasn't it? Like you say, it's just mid it was just there's nothing really meaningful about it. It was just, here's another match.
Right.
And then what they did with earlier on, going back to one of the matches earlier, which was the one with the cruiserweights. I mean, they're doing this kind of thing with, what's his name? Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander, where there's this kind of almost like friendly competition. We're the two guys who have won the tournament, but hey, we're friends, and it's like friendly competition, and we're tag matching, and oh look, there's a little bit of rivalry, but we're gonna have a match at WrestleMania. It's like, no, they need to push that now, so it's to the point where it's like, they're getting up in each other's faces. It becomes personal. It should start off, the way that should build is that it goes through that process of, we're friends. Don't worry, we're friends. We're going to keep this amicable. But then it should build up to this point where the friendship is out the window. I want to be the champion, and that means someone's got to give, and that's you, buddy, brother. That's how booking and build up to a big event used to work. I don't know. These days, they're just like you say, the fire's not under their ass, and they just got to. Honestly, it just feels like everyone's just waiting around for WrestleMania now.
Yeah.
They just fill it. Every single match on the card was just the only one that feels like there's kind of a real question mark over it as to what the hell's happening is have we got to that point in that? After Elias, have we got to? Yeah. The only one that really felt like we don't really know what's going on was the main event, John Cena.
Because anything could have happened with The Undertaker maybe possibly coming out or some kind of special effects or something like that. And none of that happened again. Like there was no nothing. And you know what? I'm kind of okay with.
I can imagine like when John Cena's like, you can imagine John Cena's in the middle of the ring. And he's like, Taker, do something. I can just in my mind it just imagine the camera cuts to the Undertaker sat in his front room with Michelle McCool, and he just picks up the remote control for the TV set and he just goes, boop, turns the TV off. You know what I mean? He just doesn't even give a shit. He's like, no. zero F's given. But no, but yeah, nothing yet. So how long have we got to WrestleMania? Have we got one more Raw to go?
It's a week after this Sunday, so a week from Sunday.
So there's got to be when John comes out this time. What's John going to do this time? Is he going to? I reckon maybe John will come dressed up as the Undertaker. He'll have.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling something will happen this Monday coming. That will. They'll finally put. You'll finally.
Casket or crush the urn.
They'll finally be a peep of something from, the Undertaker or something like that. Maybe you won't see him specifically, but I have a feeling that it'll be something that'll be like, oh shit, he's definitely gonna be at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? But even at the end, like I said, at the end of this match, there was nothing. There was no I don't know. He spoke again, which it's kind of cool, to see angry John Cena. But there was no, there was nothing out of the ordinary. I'd say. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, the match with Kane was just another match with Kane. It just
and it's unfortunate too.
Kane
one of the biggest men in the history of the sport, and this is what he's reduced to.
He looked clumsy as hell as well. Yeah. I thought
he needs to just finish it up, and I know I appreciate what he's trying to do, but it's just. I
was surprised he came back recently because he's got these kind of political endeavors.
Yeah,
I thought that's it.
Well, he has a contract to fulfill, I guess. So maybe that's what it is.
True.
But yeah, so that's Raw. Excited for WrestleMania.
Definitely.
And we're going to move on to our next segment momentarily, which is something that people on both of our personal, or not personal pages, but our business pages, they're going to appreciate it. It's going to be the Hasbro Review. That's right, the Hasbro Review. We're going to take full advantage of the fact that the two Hasbro gurus are on the ones and twos today. And we're going to go over the whole entire Hasbro series from start to finish and pick our favorites and talk a little bit about the Hasbro history.